The opinions expressed in this video belonging to the participants and do not represent the views held by PPS Holdings Trust, its subsidiaries, and affiliates. PPS is a licensed insurer conducting life insurance business, a licensed controlling company, and an authorized financial services provider. The information shared in this video does not constitute financial, legal, tax, or insurance advice. Viewers are encouraged to consult with a qualified financial advisor or insurance professional before making any decisions.
So this is for all the men out there. Today we talk about the unspoken lessons, we talk about the challenges, and we finally try to give them a voice. Today we are speaking about what we wish we knew about climbing the corporate ladder, the Grootman edition. Gents, thank you so much for joining us. You guys look lovely and dapper. You know, just I actually want to say, you remind me of my uncle, hey?
Oh, wow.
He was a cool uncle.
Oh, wow. So he's late.
Yeah? No. I mean, like, you know, he's got an old.
Oh,
he's
okay.
He's no longer cool, he's just old.
Tell me more.
What I'm trying to get to is, you know, I remember there was a time when I was riding my bike and I was riding up with my friends, and so I bumped into another, you know, one of my other friends that was riding his bike, and so I came back crying, and you know, he the minute I came into the house, he was like, hey, boys don't cry, come on, put your chest out.
Yeah.
And so as I've gotten older, I've realized that I still have that thing instilled in me. You know, to kind of like when I deal with challenges, I still kind of hold it close, try to keep it strong. And the question that I want to pose to you, gents, is how do you guys deal with the challenges and the stresses that you've experienced as men when it comes maybe to debt or to job stress?
Yeah.
I know it's a long form question.
We're gonna go for it all. Maybe I can start on one thing. I've been fortunate enough to have found a life partner that I can easily talk to. My wife is, rock that lady. And I think you touched on something when you said, you know, your uncle said men don't cry. That's something I've had to unlearn. In fact, you know, you over time you realize that the more you hold things in, they build up. And sometimes without having someone to talk to, problems can be bigger than what they actually are. And the stresses and all these things can be a lot bigger. As I was saying, I've been fortunate to have someone who understands the finance world. So they're also in the corporate world, climbing the ladder as well. So we can go through similar things, but at different points in time. So it's someone you can refer to, like, but I've been through that, you know, and you would never know if you don't actually talk. If I was still in that mode, in that phase of I'll keep it in, I won't say anything, you know, I mustn't show weakness, I'm a man like that. What do they say? A problem shared is a problem halved, that sort of thing. So I think that's the one thing, is find someone that you can be totally honest with. I've seen that sometimes it's a lot more difficult to find guy friends that you can be totally honest with. So, but find that person. Sometimes it can even be a mentor. That's the one way. You know,
Look, I think maybe on the guy friend situation. Look, also fortunate to have like a wife who I can be as vulnerable as possible. So tough in the streets, but like a baby at home, right? But I think also I'm very fortunate also to have like a friend in particular who I like when it's really, really tight, and they know that, you know, when I call, it's something that I really wanna like just bear my soul out. So I think that also does help. But I agree with you, like finding people that you can really be honest with. And Hamilton, guys go to therapy now. If it's not people that you want to share everything with, there is a chair for you out there to actually go and say, look, this is the situation.
I really love the fact that what you guys are essentially saying is that it's about what's made you feel more comfortable with expressing your emotions and feeling them, is that you got to talk to someone. And it's actually mainly your partner.
Yeah.
And that's a really beautiful thing that, you know, it's going to segue into some of the other questions that I have, but then finding a partner that brings that out of you,
Yep.
so that you can become the best version of yourself.
Yeah.
You know, I don't know, we are kind of sitting, for the audience that doesn't know, we're kind of sitting and there's like a school ground, and it also makes me think about when I was like at university starting out and I got my first job. I was an intern, and I just know that I was just happy to go from final year of undergrad to quickly getting my, I think what it was, 6,000 rand a month and living my life, you know.
Loaded.
We all had to start somewhere.
But you know, I think about how I was, the guiding force for me was whoever my line manager was. And whenever I'd walk into the room, it was mainly that, okay, this person knows better than me, so I have to follow whatever they do. But what I want to ask you guys is, what's one of the most important lessons that you should think about or that you can give to us for when you're actually starting your corporate career?
I think when you're starting out and it's your first job and what have you, finding that support structure is quite key. Leaning on whoever you get allocated to. I mean, some of the HR programs, you know, whether you're doing, you know, like those rotational ones or whatever the case might be, and you might be paired up with somebody else, take those opportunities.
Yep.
Don't be too cool for school. Don't be
Yeah.
that person that went to that varsity and you think,
That's it.
yeah, you know, like it's like you come in thinking that you're the only one from that space, but you
Institution,
just find that like there's tons and tons of quality people within that company that you find yourself in. So it's very important that, you know, you make use of each and every little opportunity to learn from others as much as possible. And if you've got, you know, brothers, sisters, cousins that are already in corporate, reach out to them. That's like easy learnings right there.
You know, I've always noticed, you know, every time we hit the final stage of a phase, we kind of go into the next phase thinking we're the biggest thing. So you think about when you get to from grade 7 to grade 8, you get to grade 8 and you're like, oh, I have to start again.
Yeah.
Matric to university, I have to start again. Varsity back into the corporate world, you have to start again. But there's a lesson in there to say that you have to open up yourself to constantly learning and like saying that you wait behind the ears because it's a new phase that you're moving into.
No, absolutely.
To what Max was saying, you know, the opportunities, don't be afraid to say yes just because you don't know what's coming. So if someone is offering you something, you're like, no, I'm a marketing guy. You know, what do I know about technical product? No, go and see it. Especially in early career, that wide knowledge before you specialize in anything will help you a lot later on. So expose yourself to, especially with corporates like large financial institutions where you have different departments, different products being sold. Expose yourself, try and find those things, try and find different departments to work in, work with other people, and that at that moment, especially when you come in, no one is expecting a lot from you. You're expecting a lot from yourself. So take that opportunity, say yes to opportunities that may come, and expand as wide as possible. Just
Look, I think just to make this point, right, and Tandanani's points, to like being too cool for school is a problem at that point in time, because you want to learn as much as possible, and pick up your hand. Like no one is really waking up every morning and say, hey, Josiah, what are you going to do today? So pick up your hand. You can see there's a lot happening in the business that you find yourself in, and if you're interested in something, try it out, right? So I think that for me is an important one, where you really give yourself an opportunity to learn as much as possible. And then at a point when you decide to say, look, okay, cool, I think I want to set my roots here. Then you're like, okay, cool, then I can specialize in that thing. And then also the humility of having to start from scratch, irrespective at what level you get to. Look, if you're joining a new organization, even at a senior level, you need to be humble enough to be like, okay, cool, I'm learning. Like the whole thing that you just made around phases, where you're like, okay, cool, I'm like a freshman here. Even if I come in with like 20 years of experience, but getting in there to just learn the space and then grow from that.
Okay, awesome. You know, I know you guys were laughing and you were saying, Tandanani, that I made a a bunch of money, 6,000 rand every month. but it makes me think, Max, you were at a summit and you were talking about, you were breaking out how many months in salary in months you have left. And I remember you hit like, you were talking about 480 something, a number around there. And I was doing the calculations and I was sitting on 300 and something. You know, and I was like, whoa, okay, that doesn't sound large. And I was talking to my friend to the point about also talking to your friends about, you know, the challenges that you face. So I was talking to him about it and saying, yo, man, like, we're in our early 30s. We actually need to be cognizant that we've got, you know, X amount of salaries in the next few months. And it's like, whoa, this is a lot of deep talk. Why are you trying to come with all of that? But it had me thinking about how exactly can we maximize our salaries or you know, the income that we make up until that point.
It's a difficult one. It's a difficult one. I mean, the problem with financial products and financial, like thinking about finances, is that it's sometimes it's somewhat ethereal. It's abstract. You do it in your mind. You can't touch it, and it sits in most cases far off from you in terms of time as well. Think of insurance. What if? Like it sits so far from you. It doesn't happen all the time. So it's very tough to visualize it. So in everything that I can, you know, offer my 2 cents on is that you need to bring it close to home as much as possible. So that whole think of each and every pay slip as that thing that can buy you something, that can buy you this, but it needs to buy you a future. It needs to buy you protection. It needs to buy you. So like you need to bring it so close that it doesn't feel like it's too far and I don't have to think about it. And that's actually what we try to position with most people. That just make it real by bringing it closer to home, and bring it to like a monthly, weekly, daily thought that you have to think about.
I mean, the example that you Hamilton was just referring to about the number of checks you actually get over a normal working career. That's already. I'm not surprised your friend was like, "Why are you getting into this?" Because it is scary when you think about it, especially when you've worked for some time. You're saying, "I had expected 480, whatever it is," and you realize, "Sheesh, it feels like I haven't done much, and I'm already left with only 300." You know, that's when you realize. And that's why you find a lot of people now thinking, "Oh man, will I even have enough to save?" So recently I was on a long drive with the family and we're just talking, told my wife she must log into one of these retirement planner things and just see how much your replacement value is. And that thing said she needs to like triple her current contributions.
It's always scary.
It's always scary, but
scary.
the thing is, that's the first step, because now she has a plan. She knows she can't triple it, but there's a plan. We know what we need to do for her to get to that point. And sometimes it's those things like bringing it closer to home. So use these tools that are out there. But in terms of maximizing your salary, I think one of the things that is underappreciated is making sure that the basics are covered. So if you're full sick, you can go to a hospital and that doesn't set you back.
That's true.
If you like, insurance in general is very underappreciated in terms of making sure long-term wealth is actually achieved. That thing,
Look, and also we live in a you live only once YOLO type of vibing thing. I think in that, what you also need to factor in is the fun element, right? So ensure that you get the base right up front, and but then you have something to look forward to. So you're like, okay, cool, that trip is coming as part of what you maximize your salary for. You're like, okay, cool, I've done the grown-up stuff. I've made sure that I've saved, I'm insured, this and that. But when you just need to make sure that at least you have that fun element, so that you don't feel like, yo, all I'm doing is stretching my salary to exactly right. So then it becomes, you look forward to that, and I think I've found that for me to work, where I know that sure that trip is coming. Eh?
Yeah.
The lounge will be waiting for me. The whiskey or the bubbles will be waiting for me.
I get you. Yeah.
So I think that so that people don't get
Yeah.
confused with the. I need to like spend everything I have, but then you all you're having is having fun,
Yeah.
and then later on you're gonna be someone else's problem. And to your uncle's point, you're not gonna be my problem.
But did you guys have that YOLO phase when you remember being younger? Was it called something else? Was it?
No, it was. I think back in the days it was like buying like a MacBook or something.
Yeah,
like that.
yeah,
You had
like-
to have like this. So like when you're starting out,
There's always something.
you always go all out. Eh? Like your first paycheck, man. I can't remember. I know I bought some tech stuff.
Yeah.
But I was spending like my first year. I was spending like
Yeah.
ridiculously.
No, it's stupid. Like
It-
you spend. Eh?
You spend
Yeah.
like yo.
I think what happens is you're not thinking long term.
No.
You know, and there's something that happens where you come in and they say, okay, you need to put some money aside for retirement, and they give you different percentages there, and you pick the lowest one, and then you
Yeah.
say you sorted.
Yeah.
You're like, I'm already saving for it. I don't need to do anything else. And when it comes to you, you blow it.
No, it's
Yeah.
Yeah, you blow
Yeah.
it. But
Yeah.
yeah.
And varsity was tough, gents. Like, can we just be honest? Like, you know, it was tough. You grafted,
Yeah.
like those long hours and what have you. So that
You felt like you deserve it, right?
That
you
was
felt
the
like,
other thing. Is
yeah,
that
because I like
it's
got.
now my money.
Yeah, I'm not explaining anything to anyone. I was stupid enough to get a German car at the time, and it was painful, eh?
Yeah.
And I think I was sharing with someone that my girlfriend at the time, who's now my wife,
Yeah.
then kind of set me down. It makes you realize that I'm married a
You
finance
married,
chick.
yeah.
She set me down. I was like, "Are you sure this is the life you want to live?" Look, I still drive a German car, but
Forget the budget. Forget the budget.
but I learned very like cool lessons around that. Where, like, I remember just before we got married, when I was ready to get married, I moved back home just to save up enough so that I can pay the lobola,
Yeah.
pay for the weddings, and pay for the honeymoon. But I think something clicked around that
I
time
love
where I was
that.
like,
Weddings.
oh, yeah, weddings, right?
Yeah.
Something clicked around that time to say, okay, cool. I still like my YOLO stuff, but there's so much coolness when structure is there.
Yeah.
And you can see
Yeah.
how you've stretched your salary.
Yeah.
And at the time, I wasn't like side gigging or anything, but I was still earning an income, was able to save. Yes, I had to go through the pain of living with my parents for like a
Again.
year or so,
Yeah.
but at the end of it, it was super
It's
worth it.
I don't know. Maybe I'm risk averse in that sense, but I like I said earlier, I really appreciate that I don't need to stress about certain things. Like when we're talking about if I were to fall sick, or if
That's true.
if there's a car accident, not having to stress about that to me
Yeah.
now feels a lot better than let me blow my money. I'm just it's like a constant happiness as opposed to this one big
Yeah.
Yeah.
jolt
Just knowing
type
that
of
you
thing.
save,
Just
that net
knowing that
exists.
that net exists, you know,
Yeah.
that I appreciate that, guys. Yeah.
No, it's true.
I really like what you said, Josiah, that you had to you actually decided to move back home before you got married.
Yeah.
I believe that a lot of us would actually find shame in that, but I mean you had a
Oh,
no. But I just mean is that, you know,
Yeah, yeah.
because they would see it as, oh, I'm moving back as
Yeah.
opposed to moving forward.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
No, absolutely. Look, I'm fortunate enough. Like, I was born and raised in Joburg, so home is Joburg.
Where's home?
Okay.
So a lot of home is in the East Rand,
East
Katlehong.
Rand, yeah.
Right. So a lot of people don't have that option, but you could move. You can downscale. You could move
And
into
it's
a
not
cheaper
your
apartment.
parents that have an issue with you
Yeah,
coming back
it's
home.
me.
It's you.
Yeah.
I know when I started working, it took me. Came in, you know, when I'm saying $6,000, you were living the life. I used to travel back home, Imlazi, KZN, by bus still.
Yeah.
And guys would be like, "But dude, varsity degree and you're still traveling by bus, and you can't live your life like that. You can't live your
Yeah,
life for other
yeah.
people, because what's the point of stretching
Yeah.
myself
Look,
now?" And
I got so much freedom from that period.
Exactly.
But now, like, I don't even. Like, I love cars, right? I would see a nice car and I'm like, yeah, that's nice. Okay,
Yeah.
cool. Maybe I'd test drive it.
Yeah.
But I can, or then if a friend has it, I'll drive
You
theirs
drive
for the
theirs.
weekend. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
I think I'm not under the pressure of the, okay, cool. this is the neighborhood that everyone wants to live in.
Yeah.
Because it frees you from all of that. So it was tough, but it was a cool learning for me to say, okay, cool. I'm not really a prisoner to other people's perceptions of what success looks like.
Yeah.
But I think, you know, like if you've got if you come with that mindset of hardworking and what have you, like for you to end up graduating,
Yeah.
right? You would have had to deal with such pressures in any case. The fact that there's something happening on campus and I'm not going to go.
So you're
And I'm-
studying.
yeah,
Yeah.
I'm
You
gonna
have to
study.
sacrifice,
I'm
yeah.
going to put in the hours,
Yeah.
right? And I think that's the stuff that even though you're starting out, when you get to your first job,
Yeah.
that mindset, that thing that you've built up, the fact that I can say no to certain things,
Yeah.
Yeah.
the fact that I don't really care, like, because you would have seen it, like, I paid my dues, you know, like, yes, I'm gonna do this, and then you soon realize, you know, I'm going to the club every time, you know, I wake up and tired, I don't actually want to do this all the time.
Do that, yeah.
So you know what, I'm just gonna chill, I'm just gonna do this or whatever the case might be. So I think you know, there's a grounding that you get. There's this thing, this notion of the university of life.
Yeah.
So varsity is not just about you getting that degree. It's also about you going through
Yeah.
and learning to know yourself.
Yeah.
And being comfortable in your own skin.
Yeah.
And you know, like a bit of change.
Ish.
You know, that $6,000
Hey.
shouldn't change that.
You know, so just as I was saying, you're talking about looking forward to that holiday and, you know, having your whiskey, you know, on the side and enjoying a nice time. I actually, a few months ago, I went to, there was a trip that I went to with a friend. And it was one where we had to drive, and we had to drive from one city to another. We had to drive 2 cars, and what had actually happened is the GPS took us on the wrong direction,
Oh.
and what ended up happening is we got stuck on a mountain for 4 hours without any network,
Okay, that must have been cool.
freaking out. What basically how it ended up is that we had to leave one of the cars, go to the accommodation, have one of the gentlemen come back with us, get that car, and it was a whole thing. But that was probably one of the scariest times in my life because I mean, it's a mountain in a place I don't know. Tananan, you seem like you're familiar with the story.
Yeah. Yeah.
But sorry, no. What I want to get into is that while I was in that situation, my biggest thought was I cannot miss work on Monday.
Oh, that's
Yeah.
super
Wow.
cool.
Literally, it was like I can see what's happening and it's a dangerous situation, but I need. Outlook is waiting for me at 8 a.m. on Monday. And
Wow.
what it makes me want to ask, I want to bring it to in more simpler setting is how do you balance work and life when you have to work during the weekends or when you have to miss time with your family or your friends? How do you guys find that balance?
Sure.
Yeah.
Look, if the consistency is you missing time with your family, then I think change your employer. Really, like on the real. If it's and that's like you're not gonna get that time back. Whether you're married or not, whether it's your friends or your family, if it's a situation where you're consistently working when you're not supposed to be working, and then either 2 things, right? You're either changing the employer or you're looking at how you load yourself. Maybe you're overcommitting and stuff like that. But I think for me, the time to do stuff that I like is important because then I come back to work refreshed and wanting to do it, right? So I think it's really a balance like that. And I'm a bit of a sticker for planning. So I have a proper, like a proper quarterly plan, but it's not like to the T, but I know what's happening in the next 3 months. If you tell me, hey Joe, are we meeting for drinks on the 15th of December, I might say no because I'm somewhere else. But just to give myself structure. But on a weekly situation, where like on Sunday you sit, look at your week, this is what I'm doing. But what am I doing before the Outlook situation at 8 o'clock? Am I running? Am I reading? Am I doing something more like some stuff that I like? On weekends, you have stuff to look forward to, you know. I think just having a plan, or else, trust me, you're gonna fall into someone else's plan. Then you're getting calls to deal with that. Then your boys are calling you, and then you're like, okay, cool. On Monday, you go back to work, and you're like, what did I do for myself?
Yeah.
Which then becomes a snowball effect.
A buddy of mine used to say, the universe doesn't like vacuums.
Yep.
It will fill it up. So if you don't own your time and fill up your time with what you want, people will find things for you to do, and that will come with work as well. So if you, to just point on structure and a plan, if you haven't planned anything, people will start throwing things at you, and because you don't know what you want to do, you'll be like, yeah, sure, okay, and before you know it, you've overextended yourself, and you're accepting things left, right, and center.
Yep.
But the other important thing is finding what you do like to do, whether it's reading or running, just that one thing, and then try to put it in your week where you don't compromise on it.
Yeah.
Where you know if it's like Monday, Wednesday, Friday, I'm running every morning, then do that, and that also helps you carve out time for yourself and try to separate work from everything else. So, but start with that one thing. I think that has helped me as well, where you have a plan or a structure. Either it's for the week to say this is what I've planned for the week, or you have standing in things that say every Monday, Wednesday, Friday, between these two times, this is what I'm doing. And everyone will know it. Everyone will know that why can I never get hold of Hamilton between 5 and 6 on Mondays and Wednesdays? And they'll stop trying to figure out or doing something, because they know, hey, Hamilton, are you going out on Friday? Nope, you can't do it, because we know this is what it does. So putting those boundaries in, man.
Yeah, I guess it's that notion of contracting.
Yeah.
Like you contract with your wife, you contract with your kids, you contract with your employer, so that you can manage everything. There's a lot that we need to do on a daily basis. Like there's a lot that is demanded off of you. But I think you need to find ways and means of disengaging, man. Like disengaging from work, disengaging from family sometimes, disengaging from even your wife. Like you need to find those things, those trigger things that will say, listen, I'm now in this space, so that you're fully present in anything that you're doing. So if I'm at work, I'm fully at work. Try not to call me, try not to do this. If you're WhatsApping, do this. If I'm at home, I'm at home. I'm with my kids. They don't get to see you because you're flying out, you're doing this. You've got meetings up the yin yang, but then once that Saturday comes and it's the birthday party, believe you me, man, I'm crying like nobody's business because I'm fully in that moment. So like it's just disengage so that you can let yourself to be in a moment fully and 100% in it. Then I think you maximize time as much as you can.
Lovely. I love the fact that what I'm getting is also the importance of giving time to the relationships that you do have. And it makes me think about, so every time I go home, I've got these aunts from KZN. My mom is from KZN. And every now and then they come to Pretoria, which is where I'm from, where I grew up. And they see me about every 6 months to a year. And now they've seen me where I'm now in my early 30s. And my two of my aunts have been like, you look like your dad. They're like, you've always looked like your dad, but now you really look like your dad.
You've grown into the image of the man.
And my other aunt was basically like, when I do the math, you're right now the age your dad was when he had you.
Oh, wow.
And I'm like, oh,
pressure.
Here comes the pressure.
I see where this is going. And I've been thinking about with relationships. I found it scary, the fact that you have to share these resources that or things that you've accumulated in your working career, and they have to do the same thing, and you have to share your space, and you have to share family. And so with that, I want to ask, how have you guys dealt with relationships and finances? How has that been for you?
Oh yeah, man. My wife started working before I did, and she was always open with how much she had. Didn't necessarily get how much she was earning, but how much she had for any month. And it was very easy for her to say, no, I can't do that. I can't afford that. So when I started working, like a year or two after she did, it was also, that conversation was very transparent. I was like, dude, 6 grand. You know, so there wasn't that much pressure, but then it came with planning as well to say, okay, so where do you actually want to move to? Where do you want to live? Want to live in this area? How much are things there? And can we afford it? It's not can I or can you, it's can we afford it? What else do you want to do? When do we want to have kids? So it's being transparent and not being afraid. If you found the right person, if you are able to tell that person without being afraid that, look, I can't afford this. You know, the weddings thing, you know, that was also a major thing. It's like, yeah, there's going to be all these things. We're like, but is that what we want? Ended up happening, but it was on our own terms. That's the other thing. So I think you need to find someone you're able to have honest conversations with. And if you're having those honest conversations and you are planning together, the thing about resources or who owns what, it becomes secondary. You need to protect yourself with the right contracts and everything else, but it becomes secondary because you are working together towards something. So I've never been afraid to say, oh, what if she takes half? We've both worked for it. Half of it is hers. It's not her taking half, it's her having her half. It's not,
I think one of the critical things in any relationship is obviously the level of trust. And if there's sufficient trust, then there shouldn't be any conversation that's off the table. So it doesn't really matter who that other person is, for as long as there's trust, then any conversation is open, right? So whether it's your wife, whether it's your mentor or your brother or your friend or whatever the case might be, finances should not be off the table. And if it is off the table, then there's a level of trust that's missing. Because again, there's things that you can learn from people, man. Like you might be going through something and you think that somebody else, like just I didn't go through it, but actually he went through it like 2 years ago.
Exactly.
And he can give you some nuggets as to like, this is how you can actually get out of this. This is what I did. Maybe look at it from this point of view. So again, just start from the fact that, you know, how much do I trust so and so, and then if I do trust them, then I should be able to talk about finances. It's not that big of a deal. It's just money.
It's just money.
No, guys, thank you so much for this time.
How's it, everyone? I'm Josiah Molloy, and I am a Grootman.
Hi, I'm Tanelani Mbele, and I'm a Grootman.
Hi, everybody. My name is Max Mujapelo, and I'm a Grootman.
Hi, everyone. My name is Hamilton Tindisa, and I'm finally a Grootman.